And joining us now in the Oklahoman's video studio, very happy to have Joy Hofmeister, Oklahoma State Schools Superintendent. How are you?
I'm great, other than my voice.
Other than your voice, well, my boss, Kelly Fry, her voice is even worse.
I tell you, it's going around.
And you guys just had an editorial board meeting.
I did.
How did that go, if no one can really talk?
I answered questions and talked for a few, good 30 minutes or more, maybe an hour. And I'm talking to you, so this is great.
Well, thank you for joining us here on the set. Lovely poinsettias from tractors everywhere. It is the holiday season after all. How long have you been in your position now?
About 11 months. So January 12th will be the year anniversary of when I was inaugurated, and then a few weeks after that, stepped right into the legislative session, and it's gone very fast.
Is it what you thought it would be?
You know, it's even better than what I thought it would be.
Really? In what way?
It
really
really
seems
is.
like this would be a very challenging, demanding job. You have teachers, you have parents, and educating our youth. I mean, this is a huge job.
But that's what makes it so great. It's about people. It's about getting out into communities, seeing the students in classrooms, learning through the eyes of a teacher as I'm able to observe and be right there alongside them, but also listening to stakeholder groups that have really been left out of this process oftentimes. So we've formed different advisory stakeholder groups. In fact, today, our Business Advisory Council was meeting. I have a chair of that. He's well known here in Oklahoma City, Fred Morgan.
Sure.
And he's working with those business leaders across the state to be a part of initiatives, some of the work that we're getting ready to roll out, from standards development, some of the efficiencies that we need to adopt, working with us on our red tape task force. But you know, besides business, we're also working with our Hispanic leaders, some of our faith-based community, philanthropic communities. We have various councils that give me feedback and allow us to float some of our thoughts early before we do things in a more widespread, broad way.
Talking with Joy Hofmeister, Oklahoma State Schools Superintendent. Wow, that's a lot you have to juggle. What's a week in the life of Joy Hofmeister look like? You know,
well, it is right here in Oklahoma City. I actually have a home in Tulsa. I really just enjoy working with those in the department, but also with various meetings from those stakeholder groups. I think what we're focusing on right now is, very calendar driven. We're getting ready for legislative session. During the session, we're working during a testing window. So that's really a time when we're really focused on the students and implementation of various initiatives, standards, whatever is on the calendar. Summertime is a time where we're dealing with things like professional development, support training. So it's a lot of variety in the day, but that's what makes it great. In fact, there's a lot of work that actually happens outside the state. We have a focus right now on what's happening at the federal level with Oklahoma's great federal delegation in Congress. They have done some work to really listen to states, and as we have expressed to them that we are tired of playing the Mother May I game with Arne Duncan at the federal level, where there's a lot of federal overreach. We have asked for relief from No Child Left Behind, and we're very grateful for what the House did last week, what I believe we're getting ready to see the Senate do this week, and that is to repeal No Child Left Behind and usher in a new day, a new age of flexibility with accountability.
Well, let's talk about that. As she mentioned, the House voted last week to repeal No Child Left Behind. The Senate expected to vote soon, perhaps today or tomorrow. What's the effect of that?
Well, it has a great effect on our state. We will have more flexibility, but I think we will continue to have, and we should have, a real focus on closing the opportunity gap, closing the achievement gap, and closing an equity gap for students. This has to be about results for kids. It must be about more accountability, strengthened accountability, but done in a way that works and fits Oklahoma. Some of the changes that will happen right away will require changes in our state laws, because what Oklahoma did years back is they codified into state law some of the requirements of No Child Left Behind. So it will then, I think we will see a shift turn to our state legislature, but there will not be a federal mandate for our teacher evaluation system that we currently have right now. And I think this is an important time to say, you know what, in Oklahoma, we want to see professional development and growth in our teaching profession, and we're committed to excellence, and we're not about repealing everything just because we could. We want to have a system that fits Oklahoma and have a strong accountability system for teachers and principals, but one that is more about shining a flashlight on where growth opportunity exists or where we're already doing great things. Less of a hammer.
How engaged is this community in education, supporting the teachers, the kids?
You know, I think there's actually an increased focus in education right now, statewide, like we have not seen.
Why is that?
I think a lot of it has to do with earlier discussions with Common Core, also discussions around over-testing, discussions around maybe the importance of parent engagement. I am a proponent of increased parent involvement. I think parents are and should be a child's first teacher. You know, between birth and 3 years old, that is when 85% of the brain is developing. That's critical. We need to have parents engaged then and as they bring their children to us in schools across the state. And we also need to really talk about what it means to be more engaged. It means showing up, making certain that children are attending regularly, that you are not scheduling doctor's appointments during the day. Attendance matters with academic outcomes. And so we've got to have those kinds of conversations. We are going to try to work to have initiatives that will engage parents in ways we've never done before. That may be through important text messaging of important dates and ways parents can be engaged statewide.
Perhaps it could be a group text that involves Phil Backrack. You know, he loves that, right?
We love Phil. I know how much he loves group texts, so we will be certain to include him in that.
Phil, one of her cabinet members and an old friend as well. Great to see Phil as well. Looking forward to next year. What's next for you? What do you see as a big concern that you need to address in 2016?
You know, the most important thing we're going to address right now is standards. So that is up next. We will have those standards ready to go. These are now, after the repeal of Common Core, we were tasked with writing new standards, high quality standards, rigorous standards for math and English, pre-K all the way through 12th grade.
Sounds like a pretty daunting task.
It really is, and we have done that, and we have been partnered with higher education and the teacher in the classroom at all grade levels. And so that work is near completion, and that will be ready to go at the start of the new year. And we then will get busy once those are ready to go and approved. We will have the heavy lifting at the state level to make sure that our classroom teachers are supported and ready. However, this brings up, I think, an important component. We can have the highest standards in the world, but if we don't have the teachers to teach them, what good are they?
How do you keep the teachers?
We've got to solve the teacher shortage. I think there's
and how
two
do you
parts.
do that?
Here's what we're going to have to do. Somehow, we've got to be regionally competitive with teacher compensation.
So that they're not going to Texas?
That's right. Teachers are not paid in a competitive way right now. That has to change. And that will be a daunting task. But that's not the whole story. The other part is we've got to give them time for rich instruction, and part of that is to insulate them from meaningless reports and
the busy work
that robs from time for rich instruction. So if teachers feel they can't make a difference, they're going to leave. And that is part of the story that I want to rewrite. And we have an opportunity right now with our teacher shortage task force. We have identified those kinds of impediments, and we are going to work with teachers through the legislators, through the state board with rules, and through, I think, just what we're doing at the district level to give back time for quality instruction.
All right, very good. That's Joy Hofmeister, State Schools Superintendent. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your voice.
Yes, I know. Hope you can understand me, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, congrats on the first year. Best of luck moving forward, and happy holidays.
Thank you, and to you. Thanks so much.